Hi, hello, and welcome. 2024 has come and gone, and here we are in a new year. But before we start moving forward and looking at what's going to be coming, look, I am super excited to play as Majima as a pirate Yakuza, okay? I wanted to take a look back at 2024 and some of my favorite games that I played in 2024. Disclaimer, this doesn't necessarily mean the games released in 2024, it means I finally got around to them. But thankfully, most of them did release in 2024. So sit back, make sure your controllers are charged, and let's take a look back on 2024 gaming. First game I want to talk about is Helldivers 2. Goodness, I have a love-hate relationship with this game, but it was still good enough to make my list. The problems I had with this game was a really rough start. The first 2 weeks I owned the game, I literally could not play because of all the server issues and stuff like that. And over time, it feels like every patch that they do, the first couple weeks, there are new issues and new bugs that pop up that just frustrate me to no end. Online weird connection issues, weird bugs and glitches in the games, things soft locking, things hard locking a mission. But when the game works, oh my goodness, it is so good. It is Starship Troopers, but in a video game form, and I love it. It is an online-only video game, but you can play solo, and you can help contribute to the cause and spreading democracy to the rest of the universe by yourself. But you can also jump in on other people's missions to help them out, and you can request somebody else to come into your mission in case you're the one running from bugs and you really need some help, and oh my god, they're right behind me. The real fun of this game is the multiplayer, especially playing with friends. It is so fun to blow enemies and allies up and just destroy them. It's hilarious, it's fun, and it's just a good game when it runs. The next game I want to talk about did not release in 2024, but I played it in 2024, and damn it, this is my list, so it's going in the list, and that is Marvel's Midnight Suns. This game surprised me. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way first. This game doesn't look the greatest. There are moments where it looks really good, and I really like the art direction and designs and all of that stuff, but it doesn't look the greatest. That's okay, because everything else is so fun. This is card-based XCOM. That's what it is. You move around a playing field and you use cards to attack and do various things in the mission. You use different characters in Marvel's universe, hence Marvel's Midnight Suns, and you're trying to take out various enemies. The things that I absolutely loved about this game were the gameplay itself, of course, but I really liked the character depictions in this one. They were a little bit more like the comics than the MCU and other things that I've seen. They were a little bit more comic book heavy, and I really liked that. Plus, it is saying something that a lot of the time, especially in RPGs and things like that, I start to skip dialogue. I can read really fast, so I just kind of go right through it, and that's it. We're done. Moving on. I listen to most of the conversations in this game. There's a bunch of side conversations you can have in between missions. You can develop relationships and build them and do all sorts of stuff, but it's super fun. And I really like the character designs. I really like the characters, and magic freaking rules. The next game I want to talk about surprised the hell out of me. I would never have expected it to be this far up on my list. I would not have expected it to be one of my top games of 2024, but here we are. That game is Pacific Drive. Basically, this game is a first-person survival game. You drive a car, you try not to die, you see some weird and then you move on with your life. The story is really fun. It's super sci-fi, and I really like that. I personally loved the setting. See, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. This landscape looks very familiar to me until it gets really weird, but the game is super fun. Your car is your lifeblood. You need to take care of that thing so that it can take care of you. Along the way, you see some creepy, weird stuff, you travel on, you gather more resources, and then you do it all again. It is a very captivating loop, and once it clicks with you, once you figure out your method and how to navigate these areas, it's wonderful. It's a roguelite, so the maps themselves, the areas are the same, but what changes is where things are on that map. So different anomalies and different weird things going on and different resources will change. You're trying to get further and further and further into the map, and you do that by going different routes and trying new things. The other big thing with this game is the soundtrack. Good lord, the soundtrack is so good. Now, this isn't original music for the game necessarily. Some of it is, but most of it are songs from musicians that you can go listen to on Spotify. Please go look up this soundtrack on Spotify and listen to it, even if you're never going to play the game. You turn on your radio while you're out driving in the middle of the night or the middle of the day, and there's something so soothing about it that I just was captivated by this game. I was so captivated that I platinumed the game, and I put 52 hours into it. Whoopsie! Okay, look, hate me if you want for putting a remake on this list, but damn it, it's my list, and I'm gonna put it on there, and I love me some Mario, and this one is Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door Remake, and it's gonna be on here. I love this game on the GameCube. I still own it on the GameCube. I've replayed it on the GameCube before. It looks beautiful, and it has so many cool quality of life additions and other things that make it worth it for me. Now, whether it's worth it for you, that's gonna be up to you how much you wanna pay for it. I jumped in on this immediately, and one of my favorite things is the music. I love the music of the original. They remade or remixed or remastered, whatever. They did the tracks again for this one, and they're great. Listen, Rogueport does not need to go so hard with the music in this remade version, but it does, and I am here for it. In fact, you can switch to the older soundtracks via a badge, but you can use this badge and you can change the music to the GameCube version. That's still great, but the new versions are really, really good. They added some other quick travel stuff. I don't necessarily want to say fast travel, but they added some stuff to it to make it easily more playable. It's wonderful. This is a wonderful Mario story. It's weird. It's wacky. I wish they did more of this stuff with Mario RPGs, and I hope it sold well to do another one that's new. This game rules. You should play it. This game is getting added to my list, even though I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it as well. Overall, I really like this game, but my issues with it are very opinionated. First of all, I think after playing through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the game we're talking about right now, I'm not a fan of them splitting it into 3 different games. I wish they had just honed in the story, made it one big game, and that was it. I'm not a fan of spreading this thing out over basically a decade. Plus, the final boss fight in the game really soured me on the game. I was already starting to get the open world syndrome, which I've already mentioned before in previous videos, and if you know anything about me, I'm very particular with my open world games. I do not play them very often anymore. This game started to creep up on me on that, but everything else about it is so wonderful. The gameplay, the gameplay. I wish many other RPGs, especially action RPGs, would take a page out of Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth's gameplay. Very streamlined, very focused on the actual gameplay itself and the fighting, but there are those turn-based elements that are kind of sprinkled in, and it's so good, it's so engaging, and like I said, everything is very streamlined in this one, even over the previous Final Fantasy VII Remake. I really like the environments, I really like the character designs, the characterizations were really good, except for Yuffie. I don't care if everybody hates me for this, I hated Yuffie's character in Remake Intergrade and in Rebirth, boo! But the biggest thing for me with this game was the music. The music is some of the best I've ever heard. It takes those original tracks that you know and love and makes them somehow even better. It's so good, mixed with these nice visualizations in the remake from the original, seeing all those old locations, all nice and fancy and new. There's something special there. Look, this next game I was really worried about because I am a huge fan of the series. I was really worried that the new developers doing this remake would mess things up big time, miss the tone of the game, miss the sounds of the game, the feel of the game, all that stuff, and then moving into a 3D context like the Resident Evil remakes. I was very worried. And that game is Hello Kitty Adventure Island. No, it's Silent Hill 2. This remake blew me away. I think part of it was because I had such low expectations and I was so worried about it. When it came out and it was really good, I was like, whoa, this is super good. Now, the problem that I have with it is there was some poor performance going on with it. It's kind of weird. I played on the PlayStation 5, but I know there were some issues on the PC as well. Weird performance issues aside though, once I got used to it, brilliant. They nailed the tone, they nailed the sounds, they nailed the music, they nailed the visuals, and they added little things that they didn't really need to, but I'm glad they did. Puzzles don't work exactly the same way as they used to. They tweaked them a little bit, probably because we're in a 3D environment and it's over the shoulder now as opposed to still cameras. I really like that they took this extra bit for those fans like myself and made the game a little bit new still, even though it's a remake. Plus, they added some extra endings. That's cool. But we all know we're getting the dog ending, right? I mean, that's the best ending of all of them, right? We're all on the same page about that, right? I'm sure this next pick will be controversial to someone out there and I'll offend somebody and they'll tell me how wrong I am, but I don't care. Again, it's my list and I love Zelda. So let's get the bad stuff out of the way. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is a fantastic game with some really, really bad things in it. Inventory system sucks. It sucks. It's kind of from Tears of the Kingdom. That kind of sucked too. It just doesn't work. I love the idea of it, but they need to figure out a better way of doing all the stuff just to make a bed. I used a bed like 90% of the time, and that's perfectly fine with me. Plus, the performance issues kind of suck in it, okay? It's usually in the overworld, it's usually not in the dungeons, but it is there, and I'm not an FPS snob. If you give me a solid 30 frames per second and it's a good paced 30 frames per second, I will take that any day. It's perfectly fine as long as it looks great too. But when it's going between 60 to 45 to 30 to blah, 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 I don't care. Performance is not great. Everything else though, fantastic. The music, delightful. It's so whimsical. It's great. I love the blend between the 3D and 2D Zeldas in this. I've heard it described as 2D Tears of the Kingdom, and it kind of is. Kinda. I feel like this is a great evolution for the 2D games, and I hope they kind of expound on this formula. Plus, we got to play as Zelda. I mean, that's cool. I really, really hope that they keep going with this and they kind of keep the 2D and 3D separated enough, but they kind of incorporate the formula from Echoes of Wisdom into a regular Link-specific Zelda in the future that is a 2D game. For this next game, we need to speak properly of it. We need to be upright. It's all about show. It's all about the biggest, the latest, the greatest, the top of the top of the top. Screw that. The next game is Astrobot. This game rules, shows that you don't need to put a bazillion dollars into a game to make it good. It just needs to be a good game. This is the first 3D platformer that I've played that felt like it actually rivaled Mario, and that is the highest praise I can give. It is so fun. The music is hit or miss. Some of it's great, some of it's not so great. The visuals never miss. Oh my goodness, they never miss. The usage of the DualSense controller, perfect. The incorporation of different mechanics that are specific to different levels and just the variety between the levels is just astounding. It is Nintendo level quality on a PlayStation, and I love it. This really felt like a celebration of 30 years for PlayStation. Out of all the other stuff they've done, all of the limited edition PlayStations and controllers and all this stuff that's way overpriced, this game, Astrobot, felt like the biggest love letter to PlayStation over the years. I loved seeing all the cameos. I love the special levels. It is fantastic from start to end. Play Astrobot. It's fun as hell. Just go play it. The last game on my list is also my favorite game of the year in 2024. It released in 2024. It was not a remake. It was not a remaster. It was not a port. It was a brand new game. So there you go. This was my favorite game of the year. I hope you're happy. I am happy because I love this game. And that is Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. I had tried the Yakuza games before in the past, and they were okay. I liked them. And now I'm going to replay them because I love this series. But Like a Dragon got me into the series. I mean, into the series. So being able to come back to that group of characters and come back to that with a new location in Hawaii, I couldn't say no. There is so much stuff to do in this game. There are so many mini games in this game that are almost fully fleshed out and could be games all by themselves. And they're just wonderful, from Dondoko Island to all the different other stuff. I just don't even want to talk about it. There's so much there. It is an RPG, turn-based RPG, but the battles happen right then and there. You run around this town, this city, in different areas, and the story is just so well done. I love these characters. Ichiban is still one of my favorite characters in a game in a very long time. He is just so endearing on so many levels. I love Ichiban so much. This game rides this weird line between silly and super serious and heartfelt, and it dances between the two beautifully. This game is so good. It's so fun. There's so much there. You can get it on a steep sale. It looks great. It plays great. It's wonderful. I really highly recommend Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and its predecessor, Just Like a Dragon. And that's it. That's my top, 9 games. Wow, that's a weird number. I don't care. We're being weird in this video. Were any of the games on that list yours as well? Were they on your list? Or maybe none of them were. How wrong am I with my list, in my opinion? Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching to the end, and until next time, bye!